The One Academy is the heart of our company. Cryptocurrency is not an easy product. It's a very innovative product based on technology and based on very, very complex concepts. For us to be part of this financial revolution, to be part of cryptocurrency and of a community, we need to understand exactly what we do and what we talk about. And this is why we have the One Academy. The One Academy provides you with concepts, provides you with explanation on cryptocurrency and on the financial world. I would encourage everybody to join the courses, to do the certificates, and to understand thoroughly how to use cryptocurrency, what cryptocurrency is, and how we can change the world by using cryptocurrency. One Academy. Learn today, lead tomorrow.
Good evening, good night, good morning, good day, wherever we are in the world today. This evening, my name is Mirelle Zama, and I know I will be joined by another host or hostess shortly. But today, this evening, we have an extremely important topic with an amazing, our usual amazing panel, and we'll be discussing issues surrounding the financial sector and the amount of knowledge that people need to have, and if they have that knowledge. And of course, leading us off in that discussion today would be members of our normal One Academy panel, but leading us off today is Mr. Dwayne K. So our panel today will consist of Mr. Dwayne K. Mr. Kester Beal, Mr. Alvin Morton, Mr. Wayne Wilson, Mr. Brother Noel Emmanuel Jack. We have Team I Am, and I know in the wings we also have Edwin Wilson. All persons who are very knowledgeable in sharing information in respect of this sector. So let me introduce to you Mr. Dwayne K. who will lead off the discussion. Dwayne, are you there? Dwayne, I see your mic is open. Okay, do we have any other panelists there? Kester?
Okay, so Madam Co-host, it would seem it would seem that I would have to jump right in.
Alvin Morton, I was just going to, right, but great, you are there, so you can jump in.
It's like I'll have to jump right in to fill the breach.
Yes.
So while our lead is addressing some technical challenges, one of the things that Dwayne KD's wanted to talk about, and he encapsulated it very well in a 4 or 5 slide presentation. And that is basically it basically asks one question. What is that question? That question is, have you taken action? Have you taken action? Have we taken action? Have I taken action? An action on what? Have you taken account of your expenditures? What about paying yourself first? This is a principle espoused by Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Paying yourself first. Never said not to pay creditors or pay anyone else, but paying yourself first. Have we done that? Have we considered investing with professionals. A few weeks ago, we had 2 insurance professionals on the program, on this OneAcademy Nights. Have we contacted them? Have we reviewed our own insurance portfolios? If we haven't done so, are we gearing up, preparing to have that conversation with the intention of investing with these professionals? What about learning new skills? This is something that the OneAcademy Level 1 talks a lot about. Learning new skills, especially in a pandemic or plandemic, depending on your perspective. It should become apparent that lifelong learning is the new skill that we must all have. Crowning your own food. Have we set up and continue to maintain some sort of backyard garden? Just as a start. No, we won't be able to provide and supply everything that we need, but certainly, even if it's scythe or celery, we can start there. Have we divested resources that perhaps are no longer required or surplus to our requirements? What about eliminating debt? This one is a huge one for me. I've spent most of the 11 months working on that. And there's an interesting story to tell. Most of us perhaps accepted the 3-month deferral from the banks. Have any of those banks contacted you subsequently to tell you that the deferred interest will now become due depending on when your existing loan, for which that 3-month deferral was applied, becomes due? That's a separate topic that can take all night. What about empowering yourself? And this is one forum through which such empowerment can occur. Have we shared this with anybody else? And I want to stop there and perhaps get some feedback now from some of our other panelists. Let's see if we can get perhaps Wayne Wilson to comment on these 6 or 7 items that Dwayne prepared on slide 1 of his presentation that he intended to do today. Wayne, let's hear from you. Okay, seems like Wayne is also.
We have to get our admin host to probably unmute mic because I'm not seeing all cameras, because I'm not seeing many people. People are there, but their devices are off.
So, right, good evening, Muriel.
Wonderful.
Right, so I had to, yes, good evening. I had to switch up a bit from one device to another because just on the brink of the call, the laptop decided to freeze up.
That's technology for you. But you know, you're in a good place. You're coming at the right time because Alvin has just gone through the first part, your first slide, where you spoke about taking action. And since you conceptualized, it will be a good time for you to come in and make your comments on various elements that Alvin just shared with us.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Let me just pull my slide up on my side now, internally.
Take account of your expenditure. Pay yourself full. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And these are all principles that we would have gathered.
Yeah, we see your backup, Dwayne. You're saying that these are principles that we gathered, no doubt from the OneAcademy.
Right, from 2017 to present. Mm-hmm. And we would have learned these things coming out of the manual, principles such as pay yourself first, coming out of the lessons from the richest man in Babylon. And the principle behind that is if you eat your seed, you will have nothing to replant to gain another harvest. So therefore, in making preparation for the future, it's important to have your seeds for replanting. So that pay yourself concept represents your seed money that you're going to have to start your savings plan with. And of course, after seeking professional help, as we learned as well from the richest man in Babylon, you're not going to invest your money with someone who is not skilled in that area or a novice, but you're going to invest it with a professional in his or her vocation that is going to help you to increase the value of what you have. So those are just 2 points that we would have touched on. And of course, those points were just basically stimulation for discussion for yourself and Alvin and Edwin to elaborate on, because we know that the material is inexhaustive and the experience that we all have gathered in our individual walks in this OneAcademy and this OneLife network is very, very expansive. Yes?
Absolutely, Dwayne. I think it's a very good place to start. I know that, and it is in keeping with something that I know you initially put out for us to put our minds and hearts presumably around, and that is ways to thrive in the coming years, as
Correct.
well as how the purposeful lack of financial education brought many people to the point of making it necessary for you and us as a community to bring to remembrance these core and ostensibly timeless nuggets and principles that have been passed down and passed on from generation unto generation, especially those who presumably comprise the so-called 1%, and maybe those who are like the millionaire next door that perhaps are not as ostentatious or as readily observed in terms of their substance, but are endowed with substance nonetheless. So, if I may say something here, it is clear that the design of the education system in terms of the purposeful lack of financial education is at fault. I agree with Robert Kiyosaki 100% when he talks about this in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he expounds on it even further in The Conspiracy of the Rich, which is one of his more recent works in this particular genre, in this particular space. And we do well to read these things and to ponder and reflect upon them. Robert Kiyosaki has been buying gold, for instance, since 1972, when he was a Marine in the US Armed Forces, and is a recent convert, so to speak, to the advantages, for lack of a better term, that will be brought forward and have been put on display in terms of the cryptocurrency arena. All right. So, and all of these are part of the financial education space. I mean, one of us perhaps need to get on to him to talk about the OneLife ecosystem, which I think might provide him with additional illumination. But I see Muriel is gearing up to say something, so permit me to yield the floor.
No. I was just thinking through these first elements that Dwayne put in, and really being in awe with the whole OneAcademy. because the very first thing you get, even with a free account, is the richest man in Babylon, which is which underlines these basic principles that sometimes we don't adhere to in terms of really taking care of our expenditure, and especially in these times where a lot of people, a lot of us have things have become less, and therefore being mindful of your expenditure, knowing where to cut back. Government cut back, people cut back, companies cut back, you have to personally cut back too. And you can only know that when you look and manage your expenditure. And the whole concept of regardless if you're working for $10, 10 cents, or $10,000, it is paying yourself, put aside something. So when there's a quote unquote rainy day, you have something. Yes, we know that in what we have been schooled through OneAcademy is what you talk about later is our crypto. And we know that the crypto element of it doesn't decrease in value as what you put on outside because it does because of inflation, but it's still put aside. And now more than ever, learning new skills because as things change, money change, things change, not only because we are operating in the new normal, but in life, you have constant changes. And with constant changes, you have to learn and adapt to new skills. It's a constant part of your own growth. And whether your thumbs are green or brown, you need to really start to feed yourself because you become in control of what you put in it. We talk about pesticides and all the things. When you use your hands to grow your own food, it takes away from your food bill. It helps you in terms of what you put in it, and you feel accomplished. And of course, what Alvin spoke earlier about the professionals who came and spoke about it, about investing in with professionals. And we talk really about professionals. And the thing about this, sometimes during the period when we need to invest is when we say we're holding back. But this is why insurances and richest man in Babylon also talk about that. And all those things go towards eliminating your debt. And when you do that, empower yourself. But I see Wayne itching to say something as he was calling earlier, and now that he has the camera, Wayne, camera, light, action. You speak.
Good night to all. I apologize. I had to deal with a small matter there. I stepped away and I see I did not mute. But once again, good night to all. I agree in the entirety, but I want to touch on something that, even though we are speaking about the different spheres, and I speak about different stages that we went through in this past 11 months, and we look at what we did because of the lockdowns we had around the world, and we looked at the different resources we could have stepped into that we took for granted, like growing our own food, managing our time. One of the things that we sometimes leave outside of that planning is that simple thing called time. And I have learned, because for the past 11 months, I have been out of work every day, Monday to Friday. I was not as fortunate as some people to be able to work from home. But nonetheless, what brings to the fruition is that time is so important. And sometimes when we have too much of it, we tend to, take things for granted and say, I'll get it done. I could still plan the food. Maybe I'll do it next week. And we get into that procrastination that steals our time. So one of the things that, looking at what we are speaking about tonight, that we really should delve into, and Alvin touched on it twice, is making that concerted effort to really put structure to what we want to do. Because if we don't do that, all the best plans we have in the world, everything that we talk about here tonight won't get done because we did not structure it. We know that we need to look at what we spend, and Kester Beale always says this: write it down. Don't just say, I know what I spent on today. Write it down where you can see it and visualize it, because it brings great clarity to you when you do things like that. So as much as we are discussing here, I want to interject that the time that we have, we plan it. We really sit down, use this time we have, and plan what we need to get done. Because if you don't do that, you are going to go through that procrastination of losing time and then wondering where it went. Dwayne Cadiz has a saying, one life for more life. And if that 1 second you just decide that it's not important, then you won't prioritize. And without prioritization, nothing gets done. Without planning, nothing gets done. So, you know, that's the 2 points I want to put into this point where we are. I see Dwayne has apparently either gone again. I don't know if Alvin wants to jump in here.
Good night, all.
Good night, Mr. Wilson. Sorry, sir. I get out of the way and give the stage now to Mr. Wilson.
Good night, everyone. Wayne, you're too gracious. Sorry, I can't open my camera at this point in time, but I really love the topic tonight and how it started off. And I just want to put in my 2 coins on the point about paying yourself first. As we say in local parlance, over the years, that particular point have been, or discipline have been cutting my tail, left, right, and center. But I have taken the decision, especially since getting involved in OneLife, to make it a point to do it. It's one thing hearing about it and knowing that is the right thing to do, and all these systems that have in place where you could send money automatically to an account, etc., etc. The part about that is being disciplined enough to do it, and a lot of us that is where we get some licks. But really having the discipline, paying yourself first, with the mountain of things you have to do and expenses you have and wants and needs, the discipline to pay yourself first, I can tell you now from experience, especially in the past 4 years or so, it's really worth disciplining yourself to do. Apart from that, you now have to battle with what you're going to do when you get into the habit of saving that money. And thankfully with the OneAcademy, we have been led in good stead, because there is so much noise out there with what you have to do with this money that you are saving. And we know from the OneAcademy, we need to put money being saved into assets, in particular assets that would throw off income. So we must remember that we have cryptocurrency we could invest in, we have land, gold, silver. I am actively on the real estate side, putting aside money and saving and planning for rental income. Don't get confused with some of the pundits out there that pushing you to buy stocks. Through the OneAcademy and understanding what companies buying back the shares and artificially increasing the price, you're really buying shares at the retail right now. Right? It's so important that we pay attention to the information in the OneAcademy, and I must say this committee is doing an excellent job with educating our community. So I just wanted to put in that there, the discipline to pay yourself first, and then knowing what to do with the money after you get over that hurdle of accumulating it. It's very important. So I just want to put in my 2 coins there, and back to you all. Thanks.
I see Dwayne came back in. Dwayne, you wanted to continue, or Alvin?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
Miriam. Um,
yeah,
that just underscores the point that we spoke about earlier of seed money. You know, that principle of paying yourself is that self-discipline is what creates the seed for the initial investment. You know, and with time, it grows, it rolls over, and that's the beginning. And of course, from The Richest Man in Babylon, the author spoke about the golden slaves, you know, amassing golden slaves and then putting them to work. So that money now begins to work, and the principle of you working for money goes away. So you begin to transition from the employee quadrant to the investor quadrant, as Robert Kiyosaki says. So it's line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. But the discipline, as Mr. Edwin Wilson is saying, is where it is. The devil is in the details, and you have to be disciplined every month or every week to set aside that little bit that is eventually going to accumulate and amount to your benefit.
excellent. Dwayne, you also have another section where you will expounding on what, asking the question, what did you do for the 11 months? And I want you all to discuss this, you know, whether people complain about everything, blame others, make excuses, settle for less. And I want you all to recall that in this week's our OneLife newsletter, our Captain Corner spoke about taking action, and he spoke about in doing so, he was really talking about that what we have, our business model, our ecosystem, our system, our business is really the answer to a lot of what people can and cannot do because of limited resources, loss of job, loss of opportunity. And the 11 months is twofold in those questions that you ask in terms of us getting other people to see the benefit of this platform and other people seeing it, and those of us who are in it moving forward to make this work for us, and those who are looking in to see this as the opportunity to help in those areas where there's lack. You want to discuss and expound on that, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Those things that I would have highlighted there is to really cause us to think. Procrastination is the thief of time. We heard not moving, sorry. Yeah, but Wayne said it, and that is true. You know, when we treat time with scant courtesy and we continue to put off, those opportunities accumulate, and an opportunity lost seldom comes back around. So we need to, as my friends on Facebook would say, carp them or seize the day. I think it's Latin, right? So it means seize the day. So take hold of every opportunity, and success is an attitude, you know? Success is an attitude. I pondered on something earlier this week. Not because the clouds come out, it means that the sun has gone away. Remember, the sun is always shining, whether it's day or night. The sun's prerogative is to shine, you know? And we can't, the sun doesn't allow the clouds to deter it from doing what it was created to do. It just shines. And so we have to develop a real steel attitude when it comes to life, when it comes to difficulty, because that's just how life is. We have up moments, we have down moments, but our prerogative should be that of balance, seeking balance in everything. You know, sometimes it's easier said than done, but one thing I know for sure now, from my own life is that it is possible to be balanced as an individual, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and otherwise.
Absolutely. I see Cliff and Donna here with us. I'm not sure if they are close to their mic, so they could unmute their mic too if they want to share in on the discussion, or if any of the other persons want to take up on what you just spoke of in respect of that 11 months. What did you do that to jog you, to cause you to think? What did you do for the 11 months? And if you recognize that both you have either complained about everything, blame others, what will you do moving forward?
Well, I'm not hearing Cliff or Donna, so
All right.
I will share until they are able to jump in. And I would just share a personal activity that I did within this past 11 months. I chose one of the largest bills, I should put it that way, that I have, that has been riding me for a couple of years now. And that speaks to a mortgage I have with the company that I work for. And I set a goal in March to ensure that by December of this year, whatever challenges come, and trust me, they do come to make sure and try and trip you up. I have set a goal to pay off that mortgage. Now, it doesn't come without sacrifice, and it's definitely not going to go away without consistent effort. So it is on target, despite everything that has come. I am going to achieve my goal. But, I say that just to reinforce what Wayne just said. If we do not put it in front of us, we are going to lose sight of it. And that, though it is, so for some people, maybe a very surmountable task, it is not once you make a decision to go after it. It's when we don't that it begins to fester and look big and like we can't do it. But all I'm saying is the consistency that we speak about here, the information that the OneAcademy has shared, has touched my life in such a way that it has taught me, no matter what happens, when you set a goal, understand that you have to work, you have to go to struggles to achieve it. Nothing in this world we have to do is just going to drop in your lap. If it does, please call me. Right? So, I just thought I would share one of my 11-month goals, and that is the largest one in terms of getting rid of a bill. Right? So I hear Dwayne in the background.
Excellent. Congratulations, sir. And what we see internationally happening, right? And it's scary. It's scary to think about the masses of people that are going to be homeless in the not too distant future when the economic shift really takes place. And most of them lose their forms of income and the ability with it to secure home and shelter for them and their loved ones, right? I mean, we skirt around it, but these are some of the serious realities that are impending. And we really need to go out there, as King James said, and try and save a lot of our friends and family. Just yesterday, or today I should say, I had the pleasure of putting somebody in the system who acquired a blockchain level 2 package. And that wasn't due to luck and chance. That has been at least 2 years of consistently talking to the person, befriending them, sharing, information, looking and doing assessments of what is happening globally, right? And of course, there were months upon months when I never sold a package, but I've never wavered from the message because I know one thing's for sure. No one on this call is going to give away their coins. Yes?
Go ahead, Billy.
That's correct, because we understand what value is now. Yes?
Absolutely. That's value.
Correct. And so that message is just a message to just keep on sharing with persons, keep on enlightening them, keep on showing them how much you are enlightened, right? Through the OneAcademy. Point them to the product, right? And just be a product of the product. And the rest is history, because on my last note on the second slide, persons actually become problems rather than solutions. And we know nobody gets paid for being a problem, you know. People only get paid for creating solutions.
Sure.
You might get paid for solving problems.
Solving problems, we're not creating problems. You understand? And that is where we aim to go. We have. Go ahead, Miriam.
No, I was just saying, and what you have said, and your new business partner and Wayne are saying is on the other side of the 11-month question. Rather than complain, rather than blame, 2 years, yes, but that person still took action. You know, it took me a few years also without before I took action and getting started in this business, you know, and you took action, that person took action, Wayne took action. A lot of us here on the call would have not been on the negative side of that 11 months, but would have pushed through and did something so that we can help someone, because we know, regardless of what, that this business, because of its ecosystem and because of the diversity as a consequence of the ecosystem, is that solution. Because yes, here it is, you shared with that person that now have blockchain and financial education. That person has the opportunity to expand their network. That person has the opportunity to have a business through the e-commerce platform Deal Shaker. That person, if they show desire, can get into the Forex market, all because of that one decision and you not giving up, but continuing to engage. So it's a lesson to be learned for this period.
So, good night, everyone. I just had to chime in without my camera tonight. I apologize. Are you all hearing me?
Welcome, Michelle. We see you on camera.
Welcome,
know what
Diamond.
Despite not being able to open my camera, I must chime in because you see this 11 months or this opportunity, it really has been adding value. So Muriel, everything you just said is really what is open to the individual, is what is actually open to the individual. And I want to give an example. You just mentioned the last one, the last discipline. Yes, you can learn about finance, where you can actually understand how to diversify your portfolio, especially in this new field of cryptocurrency and many other things that will come up. Because I'm not saying the traditional way, I am from finance, the traditional way wouldn't work, but you can diversify. For example, many don't know about blockchain, you can get the understanding and position yourself. But you mentioned OneForex, and why I have to is because I recently had a young man join OneForex with us. That means he purchased an education package. So he's inside OneAcademy. However, he decided to partner with us and get some coaching on Forex. And to my surprise, Dwayne is saying 11 months, but this gentleman, in less than 2 months of designated time and actually doing some extra reading on his own. So he's using what he's learning from the academy. He's also using what he's getting with coaching, but he's also doing a little extra of his own understanding, meaning looking for other things. And this young man came to me and said he was able to earn almost his entire year's salary in less than 2 months. And that was so exciting for me because guess what? We are given that opportunity, and it's just what we add value to people. That's what people have to see. We are giving them new information, coupled with the old information, but they never knew finance or anything as it is in OneAcademy. And that's why I had to come in here to say you are on point, Muriel and Dwayne, about stop complaining. Actually, it is all up to you. And sometimes we wait on other people to do certain things for us, but it's all up to us to do it. So I just had to say it is adding value. And in just 2 months, Dwayne is saying 11 months. What did you do for 11 months? This gentleman designated just about 15 to 45 minutes at his time, his lifestyle, his personality, and was able to actually earn almost his year income in less than 2 months. So is it possible? Yes, it is. That's just one avenue. That's just one avenue. And remember, this opportunity also give us another way to earn income, because we sell education and you can earn income that way and many other ways. So to me, it is always a win-win, and it's what people see in it. And I know I can't open my camera, but when I get excited when I hear how much information we have and how we can add value to people. I really do get excited. And that's why I love OneAcademy, and I love all of you for actually committing to actually share this information. It may be one person at a time, but guess what? One life at a time, we're going to make the difference. So, one's out.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing, Michelle. And I know what it speaks of. A lot of times, because sometimes we do have the, one of the points that Dwayne put and Alvin spoke about a couple of times is, have you um, spoken with professionals? And a lot of the time is that we tend to want to have things easy and not to put the work in. And that's why a lot of people get trapped into things because we want an easy way in and big money out. But what we offer, our opportunity is there, but you have to also put in the effort. As you said, he got the package from us, he had the coaching, but he also put in some extra work in finding more information and knowledge, and he put in the time within his schedule to be able to make the train happen. And as Dwayne said, and as has been a mantra when I came into our first meeting, one of our first international events, no work, no money. So that's why, when people make risky investments, that requires in their mind no work, they are saying our investment here is in education. And having invested in your education, you are fueled to learn and to get more greater understanding, and it helps you to put in the work, and that's where we are. Gentlemen and ladies.
Yeah, the OneAcademy teaches us to create assets. So,
Well, it would behoove me to come in as Michelle came in. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes, and Muriel, to be, as they say in the old analogy, to be extraordinary, you just have to do that little extra. And many times we don't want to do the extra. And hear what is going on. Everyone wants a laid back sort of life to get all the rewards. And more that we go into the OneAcademy, we see there's no such thing as just a laid back life and get the rewards. Now, that gentleman who basically spent that time to trade, he is infinitely better than he was before. And not only that, what happens is that if he has to give his money for anybody to trade, so say he reaches a point where he can now have that extra cash and give it to someone as a trader to trade on his behalf, he already has the skill. So he knows exactly, he could analyze better and know that this trader could really make something of his money. And this other trader is just wasting his time because he'll be able to analyze the both of them. What we want to do as normal people, we don't know anything about trading, but we want somebody to trade for us and give us a return. And we cannot decipher which is which. So you know what happens? We end up losing our money. And that was something when we started these classes, these one Forex trading classes, when we started, the coach always tell us, do not give anyone money to trade for you, right? Because that cardinal rule is that they could always say that, listen, I made a bad trade and all your money is gone. And, true to fact, we did experience something like that. So there are certain rules that literally, and because a lot of people are lazy by nature, they end up losing instead of gaining. But if you put in the hard work, you know how to drive the car before you let somebody drive for you, then the chances are you know who's a good driver and who's not a good driver. And that is all that we say, the education plus the coaching, because the information by itself is one thing. But sometimes, as KD said in his slide, professional. Have you engaged a professional to help you invest? And that is something we don't usually do. And how you know somebody is professional? Check their track record. Look at how they invest. Look at how the returns. Look at the clientele. Look at all the they would have testimonials. Look at all of that before you make that decision. And of course, do your due diligence. All right. So I just had to come in and say that because it is very important that we know how to drive before we allow somebody to drive for us. It's as simple as that. So
Before I hand back over to Dwayne, I want to say something that apart from people being lazy, it is not only that, but we are very much in a microwave society where we always want instant gratification and we don't have the patience to wait for the work that we put in to reveal itself in the reward that we will get. We want everything happening right now because we have become very much of a microwave society and something.
yeah,
Dwayne,
and
back
you
over to you.
the powers to
Yeah,
be,
sorry.
they feed on that. So that is why you have all of these ads coming up. If you want to make money now within this short space of time and everything like so, they feed on that thing that we want something quick, we want something fast, we want to see action quickly, and sometimes it just doesn't work like that. And you literally have to put in the work. You have to follow. You have to get the hard knocks and everything like that before you realize what is happening. And it's a year we're doing those classes now, but we have seen the fruits of people following the system and learning and taking the information, doing their research, and coming out better at the end. So yeah, and it will be the same with blockchain and everything like that. It will be the fact that we have people who would basically carry you through the whole system, not just the information. So again, thank you so much.
Well, I want to raise a
So
topic.
Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
Dwayne,
Yes, I'd like to raise a topic, right?
Dwayne, this is your show.
Okay.
Dwayne, your volume is very low.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So I'd like to raise a topic in relation to the technology. Now, we all understand how blockchain technology is going to benefit the world, right? But
It's still a bit,
remember,
it's still a bit low.
still a bit low. Okay.
Yeah.
Try to make an adjustment. Yeah. So we all understand how blockchain is impacting the world. But we also have to understand that there are always two sides to the coin. And remember, all this technology right now, the attributes of it is really going towards data and data mining, right? So we have to be sensitive as individuals and to be able to understand that, listen, all our information right now is being collated in cyberspace by different companies, by different entities, all geared towards making us a customer or consumer, right? And you, as the individual, have to know what you need and what you want. You have to be able to differentiate that. Otherwise, all you will continue to be is a consumer that they will feed on your emotions to be able to get into your pockets, right? So you have to be able to make the choices, the tough decisions. Listen, this is not a priority, this is a priority, and keep your focus because we're now in the digital age and you are being marketed every turn you make. I don't know what your comments are on that, guys.
I'll yield to Alvin.
It's a very powerful observation. It's a very fundamental observation. It is very true that at every stage and at every level, we are being targeted, so to speak. There is a particular language or terminology used in marketing called segmenting, targeting, and positioning. And those three elements are the core of successful marketing programs and the objectives that any successful marketing management enterprise is seeking to accomplish. The difference now compared to when I first got into this arena is that it is now at the level of digital and digitalized approaches, initiatives. So we've all had the experience, no doubt, of seeing something show up in your inbox and you're wondering how these persons, people, entities got your email address. The fact of the matter is they bought it or it was sold to them. Maybe it's one and the same thing, depending on your perspective, as a lead based on previous things that you would have bought. Okay. I think there was an ad on one of these cable business shows, I think it's Bloomberg, where there is a bank that said they're going to start selling data. They're going to start to do that. I think it was a bank, one of the banks in India. Because, I mean, they have people's profiles, they have contact information, they have a lot of valuable data and details on specific market segments that companies would like to tap into. So in the light of trying to shore up their own revenue streams, they have now turned to such resources as their data banks, and they've begun to mine that data with the intent to sell it and achieve a return on investment from it. What do we do about that? How do we redeem the time? As this particular slide is asking or is asserting. What do we do? And this word focus is so profound. Following one course, or following one coin maybe, until successful. And it will require a clear sense of having priorities. And these slides are brilliant in the way they have been put together. Because if we understand what our expenditures are, if we have taken the opposite perspective of slide 2, so rather than complaining about everything, we are able to comment intelligently about everything and comment in a way that is advantageous. Rather than blame others for where we are, we blame ourselves. Because having done that, we can take responsibility and we can take action as is necessary. And such action might be blocking some of these emails that come in, reporting it as spam, because you certainly didn't ask for it, you didn't go out looking for it, and becoming solution-oriented rather than problem-focused. We are paid to solve problems. People who want $1 million pay grades need to be able to solve million-dollar problems. And some months ago, I had this conversation with someone very close to me that you are in a position because you've been identified, you've been recognized as someone who can solve that particular grade of problem. And in fact, if you can solve that grade, you actually have the capability, we actually have the capability to solve problems 2 grades up from where we are. What is the difference between us and those 2 grades? Learning today so that we can execute tomorrow. Let me yield the floor to either Muriel or Wayne, who I'm sure would have some considered input and import to make in this respect.
Well, there's so much we could say with so little time. And I think you have encapsulated it and put that last sentence very aptly. So we can virtually close off at this point in time, unless we, of course, Dwayne could make his closing remark. But what the slide up there that shows really, it gives the elements of moving forward with the opportunities that abound. And it's so intense and it's so relevant to our ecosystem, to what we do, to our business, our education, to our deal shake, to our forex, to our OneLife networking business, to our financial education. Everything we have, cross-border payments, is right here. And we could spend the next hour on that and those areas, so that I will invite Dwayne to summarize as we close off, and we continue this course probably next week, because we have quite a lot more to say in this area. Dwayne, are you there?
Yes, Muriel, I'd just like to say that I am enjoying thoroughly this journey of OneLife that started for me back in 2017, and understanding the individualism that is there helps me to appreciate the collectivism that I'm experiencing now, being a part of this community. And I'd just like to say to everyone on the panel, together for more. And I look forward to growing and, blossoming with you all and being prosperous, and our global partners as well, who, take us in and are inspired by what we do. Continue to do what you have to do in your part of the vineyard, because when we all put our collective shoulders to the wheel, no doubt that we are going to reap great rewards. So thank you.
Yes, and I just want to say one thing, as we spoke about our global partners who are inspired by us. And because this is a two-fold approach, there are lots of things happening with our global partners who also inspire us in terms of many communities, what's happening in Italy and what's happening in Romania and Latam and Australia and Vietnam and South Korea, and so many places that they have embraced in their own unique way. Switzerland, many areas, Pakistan and India and Dubai and England. A lot of what our global partners do inspire us to move forward. And we are also a source of inspiration to them. So that is how we Together for More, that link that helps us to grow as a community, as a business, as an opportunity, because we are all have one vision, one mission, and that propels us further. So, ladies, gentlemen, those of you here, there, near and afar, morning, evening, good night, we want to really thank you for this. We want to again thank Dwayne for really inspiring us with these nuggets that we pulled together. And we look forward to engaging you again. Remember, for those of you, local, regional, international, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we have Conversations with Zelisha, and it's going to be very, very informative, our conversations with Zelisha tomorrow. So tune in to that. Next Monday, we are here with our One Life program. So just stay tuned and stay tuned, listen to the various look out to the various platforms where we would continue to let you know what is happening, and persons in your business team will also advise you. So together for more, one life for more life. Good evening.
Good night.